when have you been thinking about making a book with the title Outlands?
Well, as you know, Mark Holborn and I established a rhythm and a way of working over the last 11 years editorially. And the way that we work, we have our editing sessions in Los Angeles, and he comes for usually 8 days, and we're working 3 or 4 hours a day. We found the maximum amount of images we can look at one day is 600. So we limit ourselves to passing 600 images in a day. Our idea was that we would end up with 3 volumes, maybe 300 plates. Potentially these volumes could include images from the guide, from Chrome's. It would be the definitive last pass at that early work of Dad's. So we had this project in our minds for maybe 5 years, 6 years, ever since the time we finished Democratic Forest editing. And for a lot of different reasons, we never had the right time to come together to do the editing until February last year, February of 2020. And our expectation was that we would be repeating a lot of images from Chrome's, some from the guide. Now the big thing that surprised us is that we found ourselves at the end of our session, which Winston was working with us on this one, with 400 plates of unseen images of extremely high quality work. We did not expect that result. That was a complete surprise.
And how many images are in the book now?
So in the Outlands volumes, there's 400 images and 400 plates, approximately.
And February 2020, you finished the editing, and I remember that I was on the 12th of March 20 at Memphis and picked up the binder with the chromes for scanning. That was my last trip to the United States, actually my last flight at all, and then was Corona. But it was perfect timing to make a serious reproduction work out of this material, and we photographed it all with our brand new Phase 1 heritage system. And I have to say that's a perfect base to build up the book. So, looking to the photos, in one of the photos, you see a garden in the front, and in the back there is a house with a golden light, and there's a little signage stuck in the grass, and it is written, "The Outlands." So this obvious was giving the title to this project. But what is the Outlands in Memphis?
So the spirit of this last pass was one of what you could say outtakes, or you could say outskirts. You know, many of Dad's photographs were taken on the environs, the outskirts of Memphis. Back in that time, people would put their family name on a sign, sometimes above the number. So that was literally someone's name. The Outlands family lived at that house. So, and it is one of those houses that's in the suburban sprawl, which is very typical of Dad's early photographs. And we saw that and we said, that's it, that's the title. Because the spirit, again, is this idea of the outtakes, the unseen parts of that work. And it was something that just rang really well.
This week, when we did the color correction on the proofs we had made from the scanned and reproduced photos, we had time enough to talk about the contents. And in many photos, your sister, your brother, and yourself are subject. Kids standing around next to the car in a garden somewhere. And so there is a little bit the impression that it is also a kind of family album. So you have been in the middle of the photographing process of your father.
Yeah, that was very typical. And
not to forget, your mother, of course, is in many photos available.
And the books are, of course, devoted to her. I mean, that was the way Dad worked. It would be hitting the road, and Mom would be in the car, I would be in the car, and he would just pull over and see something and get out of the car and walk around. And there's one photograph in particular where there was a brown station wagon that was one of our cars at that time. And it's pulled off to the side of a country road, and you can literally see my mom's foot coming out of the car. She's just sitting there waiting. And, you know, I remember vividly all the time, very often my dad, when I was like 6 or 7, he would pick me up from school, and then we would just go driving around Memphis, because he was always wanting to photograph in the magic hour where the sun was very golden. So it was perfect if he picked me up, and then he would be going around the city and pull over, and I would just wait. And I of course enjoyed it. I was 6 years old, and I was just riding around with my dad. I didn't really take on what he was doing.
I was very impressed when we worked on a certain photo. It is a bathroom, and there are ceramics on the walls, and it is almost black. And we looked to your raw scan on your laptop, and it was black. Yeah? But your memory said, okay, that is the bathroom of my grandma, and that was a dark green. So we opened the raw file once more and pushed it, and indeed it was green. So I have to say, without your help and without your availability, it would be simply impossible to restore or to create the photo your father had once seen when he took it.
Yeah, I have vivid memories of that house. So that house was my great-grandmother's house, my father's grandmother's house. And that was in Sumner, Mississippi. Our cousin Maud, who you've worked with, lives there in that house now. It's very different. But I have very exact memories of the rooms, the colors of the rooms, the bathrooms, the doors, the rugs, everything. So yeah, it's very fortunate. Even I don't think Winston or Andrew spent as much time at that house as I did.
So coming back,
as I'm older.
Coming back to the editing sessions in Los Angeles. So when I was once there, there was a setup of a big screen or projector, I don't know exactly, and you had prepared a kind of pre-selection, and your father, Mark Holborn, and Winston, you all were sitting in front of it and looking to the images. So how did you arrange, together with your father, the editing work, sitting in your cinema room and looking to the projection?
So yeah, that's correct. We have, I have always, ever since I got involved in the editing with Mark again, we were doing it projected on a 12-foot diagonal screen. So it's a large projection. And I think it's really necessary to edit that way because you need the impact of the image to really see what's in the image, you know, versus when you're working with small prints, it's very hard to really discern the composition. But usually Dad is walking in and out. He's kind of looking and checking. He's not there all the time, but he was in Los Angeles. Mostly it was Mark, myself, and Winston. And, you know, the way we work is we don't start out with obviously a plan, but we know that each volume has to have a beginning and an end, and a sequence has to have some type of arc to it, a visual arc that gives hopefully some kind of drama.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very impressed. Today we corrected volume number 3, and all the week looking to the photos from 1, 2 up to 3, I was not getting tired at all because there was from page to page, from book to book, an excitement and
A rhythm,
a rhythm and a drama, and the last volume is really the peak. Yeah, so you could jump off your chair where you sit and look to the pictures in the book. So it is so powerful. I'm really impressed.
Even for me, so seeing the images now with the good scans, you know, the power of the end of the last volume is, it's very emotional. I mean, you're seeing the end of the day and the night come, and really, it's an end of an era that's closed or closing. And you feel that. You feel that.
When the Outlands is finished, so by end of next week we will be ready with the printing. What comes next?
So the next project is the definitive look at the black and white, the early black and whites. So it's very much the same spirit of the Outlands. It's comprehensive, probably 3 volumes, probably somewhere between 300 or 400 plates. Dad's early black and white work has rarely been considered, but his language is extremely clear even in the black and white. And it's very, very serious work that's not really been looked at. So I'm very excited that you're going to publish that.
Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see your edit.
Yeah, there's just some wonderful, wonderful work there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.